I love capitalism. The author of this article takes issue with pro-capitalist statements that are all too often qualified with a but. Momentesammle Patrick Raymond Kamala Harris, one of many Democratic candidates for the presidency of the United States, made headlines just a few days ago for saying, "I believe in capitalism." With this statement, the senator and former California prosecutor set herself apart from her extreme left-wing rivals for the presidency, for whom capitalism is a dirty word. Many media outlets quoted the first part of her statement, "I believe in capitalism," in their headlines, but the whole sentence has a very different message. I believe in capitalism, but capitalism is not working for most people. Paul Collier's The Future of Capitalism Nowadays. Anytime someone says that capitalism is a good system, if they say it at all, they almost immediately qualify the statement with a but. The British economist Paul Collier published a book last year, The Future of Capitalism, which attracted a great deal of media attention. Like Kamala Harris and so many others, Collier also repeatedly professes his faith in capitalism. And yet every positive statement is followed by a but. Capitalism has achieved a lot and it is essential for prosperity, but p. 20 and, as an economist, I have learned that decentralized, market-based competition, the vital core of capitalism, is the only way to deliver prosperity, but p. 25. Collier's arguments follow similar lines to the criticism leveled at capitalism by politicians and intellectuals. The heyday of capitalism is in the past. According to Collier, this lasted from 1945 to 1970, but modern capitalism is dysfunctional and is in urgent need of reform. Once they feel they have established this fact, politicians and intellectuals proceed to suggest a large number of ideas on how to fix capitalism. All of the ideas they put forward to fix capitalism have one thing in common: they are typified by a distrust of the market and a desire to increase the role of the state. In his book, Collier examines a range of proposals, including price controls, which he suggests could be combined with competition to help alleviate some of the problems of capitalism. p. 88. Some sectors of the economy, he suggests, could also function better under public ownership. p. 90. Like most other modern critics of capitalism, he rejects large-scale nationalization programs and offers a range of alternative proposals instead. He proposes a new tax system in which large companies would be taxed more heavily than smaller companies. p. 91. In the real world, such taxes would penalize successful companies for the success, and act as a brake on growth. Public interest needs direct representation on the board. But Collier doesn't stop there. He has some even more radical suggestions. The best way to overcome these limitations is not to strengthen regulation, but to put the public interest right in the engine room where decisions are being taken. The public interest needs direct representation on the board. p. 92. At first glance, this could be interpreted as meaning that the state should appoint politicians or civil servants to corporations' supervisory boards in order to ensure that they act in the public interest, but this is presumably not what he meant. In fact, he goes further: the law should be changed so that all members of the board are forced to align their decisions not only with the company's best interests but also with what he calls the public interest. And, according to Collier, business leaders who disregard the public interest should be sent to prison. How can the public interest best be incorporated into the board? The law could be changed to make due consideration of the public interest mandatory for all board members, being legally liable. If board members chose to ignore an important aspect of the public interest, they could face civil or criminal challenge in the courts. p. 92. If his suggestion were implemented, it would open the floodgates to entirely arbitrary action and decision-making. After all, public interest is such a vague and extremely flexible term and will be interpreted by different people in completely different ways. Obviously, this has nothing to do with simply ensuring that board members adhere to legal regulations, because this is already the case today. Effectively, Collier's suggestion would mean that every entrepreneurial decision would have to be checked to determine whether it is also in the public interest. Calls for a private, all-seeing police force. Collier has even more radical ideas. He wants citizens to play the role of policemen in forces who ensure that companies act in the public interest. And he isn't referring to the actual police force, but activists who would be tasked with spying on and controlling companies. Every regulation can be subverted by clever box ticking, every tax can be reduced by clever accounting, every mandate can be fudged by motivated reasoning. The only defense against such actions is an all-seeing police force. This gentle police role does not require everybody to be part of it. There is a critical mass of participants above which the risks arising from corporate misconduct become too high to entertain. p. 93. There would, according to Collier, be enough well-motivated people in every company ready to volunteer to play the role of a private police force. Although Collier claims that his suggestions are entirely pragmatic and repeatedly criticizes ideologists, his ideas are frighteningly similar to totalitarian systems. If private individuals without any real authority are to play the role of an all-seeing police force to ensure that companies act in the public interest, this has nothing at all to do with a free market economy and capitalism. Collier is the perfect example of the inherent danger in the statement, "Capitalism is a good system, but." Such bold commitments to capitalism are usually followed with "but" proposals marked by a deep distrust of the market, private enterprise and property rights. In the end, there is nothing left of capitalism but the word itself, 10 letters that have been deprived of their actual meaning. Let's block ads.